Hello and welcome to P2P Live. I am your host, Hannah Slee, and we are live. On today's show, what makes a designer truly stand out in today's job market? This week, we are joined by Maddie Lang here at People to People to discuss how to ace your interior design job interview, from perfecting your portfolio and tackling design challenges to mastering key interview questions and client relations. We'll share tips to help you stand out and how to land the role. Also on today's show, how is regular appreciation helping improve UK workplace culture? We'll explore our latest job opportunities across the UK, and lastly, we'll reveal our new social media insights on job interview confidence. So whether you're applying for a residential, commercial, hospitality, or any other interior design role, we're here to help you confidently showcase your skills and land that dream job. So we're joined by Maddie Lang. Hey, Maddie.
Hey, Hannah, how are you?
I'm good. I mean, you're going to ask some key questions about the interview process today.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess first question, how important is it to understand the role in the company before the interview?
It's huge.
Big question.
Yeah. You need to know what type of design firm, what type of design the firm specializes in, whether that's residential, commercial, hospitality, a mixture of both, because each requires a very different approach.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess in saying that, what kind of research should someone be doing in order to kind of gather this information and have a better understanding before going into the interview?
So definitely look into the company's history and their design philosophy. Every company has its own style, house style, and the type of projects that they tend to work with. I would look at those projects and their portfolio of work and who those clients, who their clients are, and if you can see yourself fitting in well with them. And if the design style is something you would appreciate, because so often I see designers wanting to go for different companies, but when they actually really look at the style, it's not quite right for them. Are they focused on high-end residential spaces, or are they focused on office fit-outs? The more you know about the company, the better prepared you can be, and the better you can see whether you're going to be a good match for the business.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously there's a lot that goes into that. So how would you work that into an interview? How would you kind of demonstrate that you've done this research and you have this understanding of the company's background if maybe the question isn't, specifically asked to you?
Yeah, I think I see this quite a lot. So people do quite a lot of research on the company and they really feel like they know it, but during the interview, they don't necessarily have the opportunity to drop that into questions or talking about their experience. So I would always advise to do something like, I saw your firm worked on this project recently and I really enjoyed this. It had a really nice open concept layout. I've actually worked with similar hospitality clients or similar clients, and I really love balancing that kind of comfort with high-end design. So you can kind of link your past experience to maybe their projects or what they're looking for. It shows that you've done your homework, but it also shows that your experience is relevant. So it's quite a good question or good way to lean that in.
Yeah, definitely. And I know last week we kind of spoke about making a portfolio and how you need to kind of start that. I guess in general, what would you say really stands out to you in a portfolio?
Definitely check out last week's live if you haven't, about portfolio, because we go into a lot more detail. But to kind of sum up, quality over quantity, definitely. 4 to 6 strong projects is much better than a 50-page portfolio. And don't just show the final outcome. Show that story and the process, mood boards, sketches, CAD drawings, material selections, how you got there.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you, I guess, so you're kind of saying that in the portfolio, you really want to see how somebody thinks, and that's what should probably be highlighted most.
Yeah, definitely. They want to see how you solve problems, how you make design decisions, how you got from A to B, because anyone could just show a final image, but it's really important to show how you got from the client brief, which is sometimes not even on paper. It's just coming out of the client's mouth and in the client's mind to how you actually made that a reality.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you've got like a good portfolio, really strong drawings. You're in the interview now. How do you kind of explain those decisions, or how do you explain the process from your portfolio and put that into words?
Yeah, I think try and be quite methodical about the approach to that. So you can say that in this project, I incorporated soft textures and layered lighting to create this atmosphere, so showing how you got from A to B. The client had originally asked for A, but after going through the process with them and then seeing some options, they actually changed their mind. So this is how I kind of guided them through that. And they were really happy with how I balanced this comfort element with functionality. So you're not just kind of showing the pretty picture, because no design process goes really smoothly from A to B, and clients change their mind all the time. And it's how you can overcome that. And don't be afraid to show that through the process or to talk about that in the interview, because I feel like some people want to show that everything's gone perfectly. And actually more times than not, clients want to see that problem solving.
Yeah, definitely. I guess obviously going on beyond the portfolio and kind of showcasing your design process, what are some other, I guess, typical questions that would be asked within a design interview, and how, should people kind of be prepared for these?
Well, you'll definitely get the tell me about yourself question, because so many people use this. So that's where you kind of need to keep it really concise. Focus on your design journey, where you started, how you've grown, where you're headed. I think if you focus on that A, B, and C format, then that will definitely help go into the next questions. But I think that people always start with that now, tell me a bit more about yourself. So having a good answer that's concise for that. Don't literally go back to the beginning and talk through every single opportunity and what you did. Have a concise overview so that the interviewer can choose which part of your experience they want to find out more about.
Yeah, definitely. I know we kind of ask this question, give me an idea of your day-to-day. For me in a business support world, sometimes people kind of say, all right, well, I showed up to work at 9 a.m. and that's not what we're wanting to know. We're really wanting to know, more about yourself, but within the context of the role. So
yeah, exactly.
Hypothetically, if I was to ask you that question, tell me about yourself, how would you answer it if you were, coming from the design perspective?
This is hard because I'm not a designer, and I always say I'm not a designer. Put me on the spot here, Maddie. I'd say something, I started in residential design, but over the years I developed a passion for commercial projects because I got to do a few of them with this client. And my recent work in office design has really taught me how to blend functionality with my aesthetics. So something like that. It's short, clear, and concise, but it gets you to kind of be able to answer those next questions.
Yeah, definitely. I know a good example is like the SAO or STAR method. I think in any interview, when you're kind of answering a question, as long as you kind of go off that structure or that layout, you'll be able to give a really good, kind of holistic approach and response as well. So I guess moving from that, in terms of back to portfolios, what about a portfolio walkthrough? How does that kind of structure, or how does that happen within an interview?
Yeah, so definitely, you can print your portfolio out on paper, but it's going to be costly, and thinking about saving the planet, you can take a tablet with you or take a laptop. It's beautiful to have it printed, but think about how many times you might need to change it if you are printing it. So I think take it with you, but make sure you've got a battery, because I've seen it so many times people go and their battery's died. But that's just the basics. But when you're walking through it, structure it like a story. So talk about your inspiration, your challenges, how you overcame those challenges. Take them through the process kind of step by step, walk them through those projects. Don't be afraid to ask them questions about your portfolio. Like, what do you want to see? What did you like about this scenario? What would you maybe have done, or is there anything you can see that you would have done differently on this? If you feel like that's appropriate, I appreciate at senior level it might not always be, but that might be something as a talking point, and it can go both ways.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess another kind of key factor, obviously within the design space, you're very hands-on, but you're also having that client interaction, and you're really having to manage people and expectations as well. So how do you handle, or how would you kind of pose that question, and how should someone answer if they're asked in an interview? How do you handle client feedback?
The root of that question is that the client wants to see that you're adaptable and professional. So you want to get that across with an example that's specific to you. Like a client once requested a last minute layout change, and I adjusted the floor plan in AutoCAD and found a way to meet their requests without compromising. Or you can remember that you're a person as well. So I found this feedback really hard because I'd put loads of time into this design, but the client, it's their home and they didn't feel comfortable with it. So I had to overcome that quickly and try and find a mutual way to move forward. It's about being adaptable and professional, but don't feel like you have to reel off an answer that was a positive situation. As long as you got through it with a positive outcome, you can still talk about it, as long as it's professional.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's key as well. Often, I mean, you want to be as positive as you can in an interview, but I think it is really important as well from our perspective to hear how someone can be adaptable, how they have dealt with those really negative or like terrible situations where you are quite challenged, because it does prove, you know, your work ethic, professionalism, and what you can bring. So, yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Everything you said, I think, is spot on as well. What about technical questions? How should this kind of be structured within an interview?
Yeah, so you'll probably be asked about your design software skills, so whether that's AutoCAD, Revit, SketchUp, and obviously Adobe Suite, but that's pretty standard. Just be honest about your skill level. So if you're an expert in AutoCAD, say you're an expert in AutoCAD. If you're not that good with Revit, say that, because whatever you say in the interview, when you get there to start your first day, you will have to commit to that. And I see it so often where people are really worried about their experience. Your experience is your experience. So with software, you can always skill up, but it's really, really difficult if you've kind of told them that you're really, really good and you can't do it. I'd never advise going over your limit, kind of your skill level, and be honest about your limitations. Because you might have to do a test, because some companies do a test of, you know, an AutoCAD or Revit test, and the last thing you want to do is fail that.
Awesome. So I guess just quickly kind of touching back on soft skills, how important are these within an interview?
Yeah, they're huge. So communication is key. You need to really explain your ideas clearly to clients and teams, because remember, when you're pitching yourself in an interview, the client will want to see, or the employer will want to see how you will interact with clients. So it's really important that you talk in a clear and concise manner. And, you know, talking about things like collaboration, showing you can work with architects, contractors, and vendors is really important as well, because it's such a big part of the role.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so just to kind of quickly recap, research the role, research the company, curate a strong and also really tailored portfolio. I know you kind of mentioned prepare for those like common questions, tell me about yourself, but obviously go into more detail into how that relates to the specific role in the business is key. Obviously be really confident in your design process, especially during kind of challenges or when competency questions are asked. And then show really strong communication and adaptability. I feel like they're probably like the main things that you listed. And I think that's really key, obviously within the design perspective, but also interviews no matter what industry you're in.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for joining us, Matt.
My pleasure. I'll see you soon, Hannah.
Thanks. Bye. So looking at our hot jobs today, we've got a junior sales associate in London. This is paying around 28,000. This is for an interior design company working in the sales team, so a really exciting role. We're also looking for an interior designer paying between 38 and 45,000. This is within luxury hospitality or luxury residential. And of course, we're looking for various different temp opportunities across London. So if you're interested, do let us know. So today we're looking at how regular appreciation is helping the workplace culture improve in the UK. Employee recognition is increasing. So 54% of UK organisations now integrate regular appreciation into their culture, which is up from 51% last year. Recognition programmes are expanding. 51% of UK organisations now have structured employee recognition initiatives, which is a 3% rise in 1 year. Frequent recognition boosts workplace culture. Employees who receive regular appreciation are 8 times more likely to feel a strong sense of belonging and 5 times more likely to stay with their company for at least 2 or more years. Recognition reduces burnout and absenteeism, and companies with strong appreciation cultures see an 87% lower likelihood of burnout among employees. Now, looking at the social media, we are going to ask you to answer this question for us next week. What part of the job interview makes you the most nervous? Is it answering tough questions or talking about my past experience? So please do drop us your thoughts and let us know. But that's been it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you same time next week.